In this video, we're going to go through the 5 best ways to start building your pipeline to start getting a more consistent real estate income and build a really consistent, predictable real estate business. So let's dive right into the video. My name is Chris with the Empire of Real Estate YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about real estate, personal finance, and entrepreneurship. If you like this kind of content, smash that like button and subscribe. Before we jump into this video, I do want to tell you about our pipeline builder kit down in the description below. In that kit, you're gonna find a video explaining how to build out the pipeline that I'm gonna show you in this video so you can make your business much more predictable and less stressful. So be sure to check out that guide down below and get your copy. Okay, so let's dive into this. This is a really important video because so many agents struggle to build a predictable income. In fact, that's one of the top reasons real estate agents quit the business is they can't figure out how to make it predictable. It ends up causing so much stress, and then they eventually pull the plug and go back to the 9-to-5 job. I've been in this very predicament before. When I first started out in real estate, I would have a closing here, I would have a closing there, and then I was like, how can I make this work? There's got to be something more to this so it's not as unpredictable and more reliable. Because as we know, that 9-to-5 job, we may have hated it, but it was predictable. We would go in, we'd show up to work, we'd do our thing, and then we would get a paycheck. But with real estate, when you first get started, or even when you've been in for a while, you might have a commission here, you might have a commission there, you might even have 5 closings in the same month and have a huge month. But then your pipeline dries up and you don't make money for another 3 or 4 months and you burn through all that money that you saved up from that big production month. So I wanted to come up with something that would make things more predictable, more reliable, and that's how I came up with this system. And my team currently uses this system, and this is the system that creates a lot more predictability in your business. So let's start out with the actual pipeline itself. So I'm going to show you 5 ways to fill this pipeline, but let's just start with the basics of what this pipeline is and why it's so important. So long story short, this is a funnel. So any company that focuses on marketing, they're going to have a funnel, right? And the way the funnel works is you pour leads into the top of the funnel. Think of like a gasoline funnel when you're pouring gas into a car. So you're going to pour the gasoline, which is going to be your leads, all that stuff, into the top of the funnel. Now, this is where a lot of real estate agents go wrong, is they don't have a funnel built out and they don't have a system that makes that process predictable and steady. What they do is they get a lead and they do something different for every single lead, and that creates kind of a sort of chaos, and it doesn't create any predictability or reliability, and they end up with this business that looks a lot more like a hobby than a real business. So what I want to do is show you how I have our pipeline set up. So when the lead comes in first, it's going to be a new lead. This is somebody that you never talked to. This is somebody that has never had a conversation with you. None of that. It's just a new lead. Before I dive into all the steps here, I want to explain what this is, because you might be saying, what the heck is a funnel? What are you even talking about? Where do I put these leads? Well, long story short, this is a CRM, right? This is all this is. It's a CRM, and I'm building it out in this way to make things predictable. The CRM that I use is Chime CRM. I've used many CRMs before. For my team and my setup, I found that Chime was the best option by far. It has a front-end website to pull leads in, so you don't have to spend a ton of money on Zillow leads or any other lead source that's super expensive right now. And it has a back-end that you can build and make super predictable, so your income, starts coming in over and over and over again, and you can really build out this robust pipeline. So if you want to check out Chime, they have a really good team. So down below, I do have a affiliate link with different sales and discounts and VIP pricing. So be sure to check that out. But long story short, most CRMs are going to work for this. So if you're already using a CRM, you can build it out in this way. And that's the coolest thing, is you can take a basic CRM that you're using and make it into a predictable sales machine. So long story short, when a lead first comes in, they start at the top of the funnel. This person is a new lead, and a new lead is somebody that came in the last 7 days. You never spoke with them before. They're brand new in your system. They might be looking at houses on your website, and they're brand new, right? This is somebody that you have no idea what they're looking to do. You never had a chance to connect with them, and they're new to your system. After that, you have your leads. So these are the same thing as no leads. You never talk to them. You had no discovery call, and you have no idea what they're looking to accomplish. However, they're not new. These might be 14 days, 21 days, 30 days, even a couple months old, because you never had the chance to get on the phone and had the conversation with them. Now, what's the point of these? Well, the point with this lead thing is you just want to identify what people you haven't talked to yet and who you need to talk to and have that discovery call with. So keep in mind, when you're calling leads, you need to know that the whole point of it is to have a discovery call. You're not trying to sell them a house on the very first call. You're trying to talk to them, build a relationship, and figure out where they're at in their process. Are they looking to buy a house in a year? Are they looking to buy a house in 90 days? Are they looking to not buy a house at all and they just clicked on your ad by accident? Like, where does this person fall into your pipeline, and where are you going to place them so you can start nurturing and building that relationship so when the time does come up, you're the person that they go to. So from the very first discovery call, you want to put them in one of these buckets. From there, you can keep nurturing that relationship and becoming that trusted expert. So once you have the discovery call, you can put them in one of these categories. So we have C, B, A, and then we have C again, which is client. So let's explain the first one. C is a cold lead. This is somebody that you talk to. They don't have high intent. They're probably like kicking the idea or moving around in like a year or so, but they're not super serious. They're just like, hey, I'm not sure. Keep in touch, whatever. They're not super motivated. Next, we have the B warm lead. B warm leads are people that are essentially, they're serious, they're interested, but they're not really ready to go right now. They might be 6 months out, they might be 4 months out, 5 months out, that kind of thing. And then you have the hot leads. These people are a lot more motivated, and you have to keep them top of mind. You have to really be on top of these people, and your intent should be trying to get them in for a consultation to continue to build that relationship and get that face-to-face appointment. So that's the A hot leads. Next, you have the clients. So the goal of this funnel is to work them down. You go to C, you go to B, you go to A, you go to client. Now, once they're a client, you should have them signed. They're a signed client, you're out, you're showing them houses, or their house is on the market and you're the listing agent. That's the coolest thing. Now you have a client. Now this is somebody that's really close to coming out of the pipeline, going under contract, and producing a commission. So the goal is to build the client bucket up as much as possible. But the coolest thing about this pipeline is all the people that aren't ready to be a client yet, it identifies them, puts them in the right category so you can continue to nurture that relationship and get them into this bucket and have that predictable income that you want. So the bigger you can build this pipeline, the better. And at the end, the clients turn into sales. Now, not all of them are going to turn into sales, but a good percentage will. And then that produces commission checks. As you can see, this can become a really predictable system. Okay, so now that you know how the funnel works, let's talk about filling the funnel. Now, this is the part where a lot of people are like, hey, how do I get business? Like, how do I generate predictable income? Well, you need to start filling your funnel with leads. So you might be wondering, how do you get these leads? Well, this is what I wanted to talk about in this video, is how to get these leads. What are the best lead sources to focus on to fill this funnel as quick as possible? So I'm going to talk about all of these lead sources. I've tried all of these lead sources, and I'm going to tell you how each one kind of works so you can see if it's a good fit for you and building your funnel. So the very first one we have is going to be the Facebook lead. So Facebook leads have pros and cons, like any other lead source. Facebook leads can be an excellent way to build your funnel because you can get a large volume of leads for a low amount of money. So Facebook leads can be a good thing to get a lot of leads into your funnel and start practicing and start tweaking your funnel so it's a lot more predictable. However, Facebook leads, you're going to have a lot more leads to convert because the psychology of the Facebook leads is a lot different than another lead source. You have to think about it. You're intercepting them when they're scrolling through their Facebook feed. This person might have no intent. They're not searching for you. They're not searching for houses for sale. All they're doing is scrolling on their Facebook feed. You're putting a really nice looking property or a home value report or some kind of lead magnet in front of them, and they're clicking on it. That's the only intent. They're clicking on it. They're filling out a form to see more photos of that house, and that's it. So your conversion rate on this lead source is going to be very low. And if you don't have a solid system in place and you're not good at follow-up yet, this might not be the perfect lead source. But if you're working on your follow-up and you're trying to tweak your systems and really get a good flow, then this can be a great place to start because you're going to be able to get a lot of leads for a little bit of money. The next lead source we have is the lead gen companies. So think of Realtor.com, Zillow.com, all these companies that basically generate leads through their own traffic and then resell them to real estate agents. Now, this lead source has pros and cons as well. I remember when I was buying this lead source, I really loved it because the leads are very, very high quality. A lot of times they're lead handoffs. So like if you're working with Zillow, they're going to call you and say, I have this person on the phone that's asking questions about XYZ property. And that can be excellent, right? It's super easy to convert a lead like that. The downside is it comes with a cost. These leads can be super expensive. And if you look at one of the previous videos I did, I can link it down below. I go over the analysis of the actual cost of leads. And a lot of times it's not profitable. Even if you're closing the sales, you could be spending more money on leads than you're actually making. So this lead source isn't super profitable in most places, but your city might be different. So make sure you run your numbers because there are still markets out there that this lead source works really well in, but you have to run your numbers and know what you're looking at because if not, you could end up working for free. And even worse, you might be working and losing money. That's something that we all don't want to do. The next lead source is a really good one. And this was kind of my solution to all the prices going up on the lead gen companies. So this is Google Leads. Now, Google Leads are great because they're not as expensive as these companies, but they have a high intent. So unlike the Facebook leads, they're not just scrolling and you're throwing their ad in front of it. They have intent. They're on Google. They're searching for best houses in Dallas for under 300K, or they're searching for luxury homes in Dallas under 800K. So they have an intent. Like they're actually taking time out of their day to search for this, to search for houses. So I found that this lead source has a lot more intent. They're higher converting leads, and the conversations are usually a lot better when you call them. You don't get as much of the, I'm just looking, I'm not super interested. You don't get that much of that. You get more real questions about houses and things like that. So if you want a lead source that takes less follow-up and is more productive, this might be where you want to go. However, you need to build a really good-looking website because you're going to be competing in the search engines against other websites that are also trying to capture that lead. That's another reason I went over to Chime. Before Chime, I had Follow Up Boss, and Follow Up Boss is a phenomenal CRM. Like I was with Follow Up Boss for years and years. They do everything that my team needs. I have a real estate team, and they're phenomenal. I love that CRM. I still love that CRM, but they didn't have the front end website, so I had to end up going to a different company and then pairing the both together. Whereas with Chime, it's an all-in-one package. So you get the phenomenal back end with the beautiful website on the front end, and that's why it made more sense to go with Chime, and it actually ended up saving us money. On top of that, Chime has a team in place, and a lot of these people have worked on the teams of Google and Facebook, so they have a lot of experience with this lead source, and they can help you run these ads and tweak them so you don't have to spend all your time learning how to market and set up paid ads, and you can spend more time on the phone converting these leads and actually selling real estate. So that's one of the cool things I liked about it. But you have to have a really good looking website because the whole goal with Google Leads is they're searching this in, but when they land on your website, you want to be able to capture that lead, because if you can't capture the lead, you're just spending money on clicks and you're wasting money. The next lead source I want to tell you about is a free lead source. Now, this is the lead source that I used to build my business when I first started. And I got to tell you, it's a lot of work, but it's cool because you can build a really good sized business and you can get deals under contract without spending a ton of money on leads. This is door knocking, and door knocking is a really good thing because it doesn't cost money. You're outside, you're walking around, you're getting some exercise, and you're face to face with homeowners. So when I first started, I would print out 100 flyers. I would go out in the heat of New England in the summertime, and I would just knock on a ton of doors. And I know that sounds wild, but I had not much money to start. I saved a certain amount of money before I quit my job in banking, and I had to figure this out. So that's what I did. I said, I'm gonna make this work, and I would go door knocking for 2 or 3 hours a day. And I made some mistakes with door knocking, and I dropped the ball on some deals, but that's because I didn't put them in this pipeline. I would have a good conversation, I would write their number down on a piece of paper, and then nothing would come of it because I lost a piece of paper or I forget to follow up and all that stuff. But if you're door knocking and then you're putting the leads that you collect from door knocking in a system like this, that's when it's going to make sense. So another cool thing that I like about having a system like this is you can go on your app and you can do a door knock click and you can essentially pull up door knocking. So right on my app, I can go to door knocking and then I can collect all that data when I have good conversations with homeowners. So I can just click, boom, put the information in, throw it in my pipeline, and then I'm off to the next house. Whereas with paper and pen, you're writing things down, it's all messy, you might forgot what you wrote, it might be too hard to read. Like that's all the problems that I ran into. And that's why I ended up wasting a lot of time. But I learned a lot of good lessons and I did convert some deals. So it wasn't a waste of time. But just know, because it's such an inexpensive way to get started, it does come with a lot of work. Like it's a grind. There's no doubt about it. But if you do the work, you can get some really awesome returns with not a lot of capital invested. The last one I want to tell you about is cold calling leads. Now, you're either going to love this one or you're going to hate this one. The cool thing about it is you can get these leads for a very little amount of money, but they take work, just like the door knocking. In my opinion, it's less work than the door knocking, but it's still work. So the system I use for this is RedX, and basically what I do is I go on RedX, I use the dialer, and I'll call for rent by owner, for sale by owner, circle prospecting. Another thing we do is I buy a list of like absentee owner information, probate sale information, and then I upload it into our RedX account, and then all the agents on my team, including myself, will end up calling those, having conversations, and then putting them into our system. So the goal with RedX, for us at least, is to use it as kind of like a fishing pond. We all go fishing at RedX, and then we pull that data out when it's someone that we had a good conversation with that falls into the A, B, C buckets, and we put them in the bucket and continue to build a relationship through our system. So RedX leads can be really inexpensive, but they're going to take a little bit more work because you're calling them cold, whereas with the Google and the Facebook, they're opting into your website and they might be a little more pleasant to talk to. So drop it in the comment section below. What are you using to build your pipeline? I want to hear what lead sources you love the most. And if you have questions about building your pipeline, drop it in the comment section below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for tuning in. And if you like this kind of content, smash the like button and subscribe. Have a great day.